I'm Michelle Okada. I'm the Public Information Officer for Woodbury Public Safety. And today we're going to talk about what drivers should do when they see lights or hear sirens when they're driving along any road. And with us today is Officer Scott Melander. Hi, Scott.
How are you?
Good. Tons of questions. People always wonder what they should do. If you had one thing that you want to make sure that drivers know when they see lights behind them or hear sirens, what should they do?
Well, ultimately, we don't want them to panic. We want them to carefully and slowly pull over, and as state law reads, they're supposed to pull over to the right shoulder and come to a stop. And it's important that they stop, because when they don't, they actually may inhibit our ability to turn where we need to turn or stop a car that we're trying to stop.
Got it. What about, so we see, and you can kind of maybe see it behind us, but the blinking lights. I've heard that there's actually two different, the lights blink and they don't blink. What does that mean? Well,
the brand name for those lights are, they call it the Opticom. And what they do is they communicate with the squad cars, ambulances, and fire trucks that are coming through. If the light is solid, that means the emergency vehicle is coming up to that intersection from that direction. If they're blinking, that means they're coming from a different direction than where you are coming from. Okay. But that doesn't mean that there's not a second squad, ambulance, or fire truck that's not coming from a different direction. First squad there will get that bright, solid light, not the blinking light.
So as a driver, whether, let's say for now, the squad or the fire engine is coming from behind us, and we're the first car at that intersection, what do we do?
Well, at that point, if we're coming up from behind you, pull over to the right. We don't want you blocking the intersection, because you may have squads coming from multiple directions, and if you block up that intersection, nobody can get through them.
Roundabouts. Is there anything specific or different that we need to do with roundabouts?
Roundabouts are essentially intersections. So the driver needs to treat it as an intersection. Therefore, clear the intersection as soon as you safely can possibly do so, and then we pull over to the right to allow the emergency vehicles through.
So here's a question as well. Let's say that the officer or the fire engine, again, is coming the opposite direction. So I am going opposite direction. Do I still need to pull over?
Yep, you're still required to pull over to the right and come to that stop. And the reason for that is if we can't get around traffic that's in front of us, we may actually come into your lane and move around that traffic that way. Hence the reason that all traffic on that roadway is supposed to pull over to their right side of the road and come to a stop, making it a safe way for us to travel through.
Okay. Now let's say that you're going to, it's less of an emergency but more of a traffic stop. You're going to pull someone over, and hopefully it's not me. What do I do if I'm in between you and the person that you're pulling over?
You need to pull over to the right and stop. And the key there is stop, because what's happening is the car I'm trying to pull over is doing what they're supposed to. They're pulling to the right and they are stopping. The car that we have passed isn't stopping, they're continuing to go with me, and I'm not able to get in between my target vehicle and this extra vehicle, and leaving me out in the middle of traffic and them stuck in the middle of the traffic stop. And that's not where they want to be, unless they would like a citation as well.
Thanks, Scott. That's great information.
You're welcome.
So the 4 things: don't panic, clear the intersection, pull over to the right, and stop. Again, I'm Michelle Okada, Public Information Officer for Woodbury Public Safety.